प्यारे बच्चों, आपका +1 क्लास में स्वागत है। आपके केमिस्ट्री सब्जेक्ट में जो 14th यूनिट है एनवायरमेंटल केमिस्ट्री, उसमें जो आज हम टॉपिक डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं वो है ट्रोपोस्फिरिक पॉल्यूशन। द फर्स्ट टॉपिक इज एनवायरमेंटल केमिस्ट्री। एनवायरमेंटल केमिस्ट्री डील्स विद द स्टडी ऑफ द origin, transport, reactions, effects and fates of chemical species in the environment. Next topic is environmental pollution. Environmental pollution is the effect of undesirable changes in our surroundings that have harmful effects on plants, animals, and human beings. The next term is pollutant. A substance which causes pollution is known as pollutant. Pollutants can be solid, liquid, or gaseous substances present in greater concentration than in natural abundance and are produced due to human activities or due to natural happenings. The next term is degradable pollutants. Pollutants can be degradable like discarded vegetables which rapidly break down by natural processes. Such type of pollutants are called degradable pollutants. The next term is slowly degradable pollutants. On the other hand, pollutants which are slowly degradable remain in the environment in an unchanged form for many decades. For example, dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane, that is DDT, plastic materials, heavy metals like lead, mercury, nickel, chromium, etc., many chemicals, nuclear wastes, etc. These slowly degradable pollutants cannot be degraded by natural processes and are harmful to living organisms. In the process of environmental pollution, pollutants originate from a source and get transported by air or water or are dumped into the soil by human beings. As you know, the environment consists of four segments. Number 1, atmosphere. Number 2, hydrosphere. Number 3, lithosphere. And number 4, biosphere. Air pollutant like particulate matter, for example, smoke, dust, mist, fumes, and harmful gases like oxides of sulfur, for example, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide, and oxides of nitrogen, for example, nitric oxide and nitrogen peroxide, and the harmful gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, chlorine, carcinogenic unburnt hydrocarbons due to incomplete combustion of the fossil fuels and coals caused due to human activity and industrial processes. On the other hand, surface water gets contaminated by pesticides and fertilizers in the agricultural runoff waters, human and animal wastes in sewage, and industrial wastes. Waterborne diseases like sewage alone have killed millions of people in the developing countries. Further, the release of polychlorinated biphenyls released by the use of pesticides, fungicides, and herbicides in the agricultural field is the major cause of cancer disease. The lithosphere of the environment consists of the outer mantle of the solid earth consisting of minerals occurring in the earth's crust and the soil. The latter comprises a complex mixture of minerals, organic matters, air, and water. The soil is the most important part of the lithosphere. The soil pollution caused due to human activities like the adding the fertilizers to the agricultural fields, spraying the herbicides, fungicides, pesticides to the agricultural field, or dumping the medical wastes from the hospitals, or plastic materials, or industrial wastes into the soil. The fourth segment of the environment is biosphere. Biosphere consists of the living organisms and their interactions with the environment. Both the biosphere and environment are influenced considerably by each other. Thus, the oxygen and carbon dioxide levels of the atmosphere depend entirely. The next topic is atmosphere structure. The atmosphere is the protective blanket of gases surrounding the earth, which sustains life on the earth and saves it from the hostile environment of outer space. It absorbs most of the cosmic rays from outer space and a major portion of the electromagnetic radiation from the sun. It transmits only near ultraviolet, visible near infrared radiation, that is ranging from 300 to 2500 nanometer, and radio waves, that is ranging from 0.14 to 40 meter, while filtering out tissue damaging ultraviolet radiation below about 300 nanometer. The atmosphere plays a key role in maintaining the heat balance of the earth. Through absorption of atmosphere that surrounds the earth is not of the same thickness at all heights. There are concentric layers of air or regions, and each layer has different density. The lowest region of atmosphere in which the human beings along with other organisms live is called troposphere. It extends up to the height of 10 km from the sea level. Above the troposphere, between 10 and 50 km above sea level, lies stratosphere. Troposphere is a turbulent, dusty zone containing air, much water vapor, and clouds. This is the region of strong air movement and cloud formation. The stratosphere, on the other hand, contains dinitrogen, oxygen, ozone, and little water vapors. Let us discuss the tropospheric pollution. Tropospheric pollution occurs due to presence of undesirable solid or gaseous particles in the air. These are number 1, gaseous air pollutants. These are oxides of sulfur, nitrogen and carbon, hydrogen sulfide, hydrocarbons, ozone and other oxidants. Number 2, particulate pollutants. These are dust, mist, fumes, smoke, etc. Next is oxides of sulfur. So oxides of sulfur are gaseous air pollutants. When sulfur containing fossil fuel is burnt, sulfur dioxide gas is produced, which is poisonous to both animals and plants. A very low concentration of sulfur dioxide gas causes respiratory disease, for example, asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, that is lungs cancer, in human beings. Sulfur dioxide gas causes irritation to eyes. High concentration of sulfur dioxide gas leads to stiffness of flower buds, which eventually fall off from plants. The presence of particulate matter in polluted air catalyzes the oxidation of sulfur dioxide gas to sulfur dioxide gas. For example, when 2 moles of sulfur dioxide gas react with 1 mole of oxygen gas in the presence of particulate matter in the polluted air, it gives rise to the 2 moles of sulfur dioxide gas. The reaction can also be promoted by ozone and hydrogen peroxide. For example, 1 mole of sulfur dioxide gas react with 1 mole of ozone gas to produce 1 mole of sulfur dioxide gas and 1 mole of oxygen gas. And 1 mole of sulfur dioxide gas react with 1 mole of hydrogen peroxide liquid to produce 1 mole of sulfuric acid in aqueous state. The next category of gaseous air pollutants are oxides of nitrogen. Dinitrogen and dioxygen are the main constituents of air. These gases do not react with each other at normal temperature. At high altitudes, when lightning strikes, they combine to form oxides of nitrogen. In an automobile engine, at very high temperature, when fossil fuel is burnt, dinitrogen and dioxygen combine to yield significant quantities of nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide. That is, 1 mole of nitrogen gas react with 1 mole of oxygen gas to produce 2 mole of nitric oxide gas. Nitric oxide gas reacts instantly with oxygen gas to give nitrogen dioxide gas. That is 2 mole of nitric oxide gas react with 1 mole of oxygen gas to produce 2 moles of nitrogen dioxide gas. Rate of production of nitrogen dioxide gas is faster when nitric oxide gas reacts with ozone. That is 1 mole of nitric oxide gas reacts with 1 mole of ozone gas to produce 1 mole of nitrogen dioxide gas and 1 mole of oxygen gas. Hydrocarbons are composed of hydrogen and carbon only and are formed by incomplete combustion of fossil fuel used in automobiles. Hydrocarbons are carcinogenic, that is, they cause cancer. They harm plants by causing aging, breakdown of tissues, and shedding of leaves, flowers, and twigs. The next category of gaseous air pollutants are oxides of carbon. For example, carbon monoxide. It is produced as a result of incomplete combustion of carbon. Carbon monoxide is mainly released into the air by automobile exhaust. Other sources which produce carbon monoxide gas involve incomplete combustion of coal, firewood, petrol, etc. Carbon monoxide is a colorless and odorless gas, highly poisonous to living beings. Carbon monoxide gas has the ability to block the delivery of oxygen to the organs and tissues. It binds to hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin, which is about 300 times more stable than the oxygen hemoglobin complex. In blood, when the concentration of carboxyhemoglobin reaches about 3 to 4%, the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood is greatly reduced. This oxygen deficiency results into headache, weak eyesight, nervousness, and cardiovascular disorder or even death. In pregnant women who have the habit of smoking, the increased carbon monoxide level in blood may induce premature birth, spontaneous abortions, and deformed babies. The next type of oxides of carbon is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is released into atmosphere by respiration, burning of fossil fuels for energy, and by decomposition of limestone during the manufacture of cement. It is also released during volcanic eruptions. Carbon dioxide gas is confined to troposphere only. Normally it forms about 0.03% by volume of the atmosphere. Excess of carbon dioxide in the air is removed by green plants, and this maintains an appropriate level of carbon dioxide gas in atmosphere. Green plants require carbon dioxide gas for photosynthesis, and they in turn emit oxygen gas, thus maintaining the delicate balance. Deforestation and burning of fossil fuel increases the carbon dioxide gas level and disturb the balance in atmosphere. The increased amount of carbon dioxide gas in the air is mainly responsible for global warming. Now let us discuss the global warming and greenhouse effect. So first of all, we will discuss the cause of global warming. As we know, about 75% of the solar energy reaching the earth is absorbed by the earth's surface, which increases its temperature. The rest of the heat radiates back to the atmosphere. Some of the heat is trapped by gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, ozone, chlorofluorocarbon compounds, that is CFCs, and water vapors in the atmosphere. Thus, they add to the heating of the atmosphere. This causes global warming. As you know, we are surrounded by a blanket of air called the atmosphere, which was kept the temperature on Earth constant for centuries. But it is now undergoing change, though slowly, just as the glass in a greenhouse holds the sun's warmth inside. Atmosphere traps the sun's heat near the Earth's surface and keeps it warm. This is called natural greenhouse effect because it maintains the temperature and makes the Earth perfect for life. In a greenhouse, solar radiations pass through the transparent glass and heat up the soil and the plants. The warm soil and plants emit infrared radiations. Since glass is opaque to infrared radiations, it partly reflects and partly absorbs these infrared radiations. This mechanism keeps the energy of the sun trapped in the greenhouse. Similarly, carbon dioxide molecules also trap heat as they are transparent to sunlight but not to the heat radiation, that is infrared radiations. If the amount of carbon dioxide crosses the delicate proportion of 0.03%, the natural greenhouse balance may get disturbed. Carbon dioxide is the major contributor to global warming. Besides carbon dioxide, other greenhouse gases are methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbons, and ozone. Methane is produced naturally when vegetation is burnt, digested, or rotted in the absence of oxygen. Large amounts of methane are released in paddy fields, coal mines, from rotting garbage dumps, and by fossil fuels. Chlorofluorocarbons, that is CFCs, are man-made industrial chemicals used in air conditioning, etc. CFCs are also damaging the ozone layer. Nitrous oxide occurs naturally in environment. In recent years, their quantities have increased significantly due to the use of chemical fertilizers and the burning of fossil fuels. If these trends continue, the average global temperature will increase to a level which may lead to melting of polar ice caps and flooding of low-lying areas all over the earth. Increase in the global temperature increases the incidence of infectious diseases like dengue, malaria, yellow fever, sleeping sickness, etc. The next topic is acid rain. As we know that normally rainwater has a pH of 5.6 due to the presence of hydrogen cations formed by the reaction of rainwater with carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere. That is, in the atmosphere, 1 mole of water molecules in liquid state react with 1 mole of carbon dioxide molecules in a gaseous state to form 1 mole of carbonic acid in aqueous state. Now 1 mole of carbonic acid in aqueous state dissociates to form 1 mole of hydrogen cations in aqueous state and 1 mole of hydrogen carbonate or bicarbonate in aqueous state. When the pH of the rainwater drops below 5.6, it is called acid rain. Acid rain is a byproduct of a variety of human activities that emit the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen in the atmosphere. Sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, after oxidation and reaction with water, are major contributors to acid rain. Because polluted air usually contains particulate matter that catalyze the oxidation. For example, 2 mole of sulfur dioxide gas molecules react with 1 mole of oxygen gas molecule to form 2 moles of sulfur dioxide gas molecules as a secondary pollutant. Now, 2 moles of sulfur dioxide gas molecules react with 2 moles of water molecules in liquid state to form 2 moles of sulfuric acid in aqueous state. Similarly, 4 moles of nitric oxide gas react with 2 moles of oxygen gas in the atmosphere to form 4 moles of nitrogen dioxide gas in the atmosphere. Now 4 moles of nitrogen dioxide gas react with 1 mole of oxygen gas in the atmosphere to form 2 moles of dinitrogen pentoxide gas in the atmosphere. Now, 2 moles of dinitrogen pentoxide gas react with 2 moles of water molecules in liquid state in the atmosphere to form 4 moles of nitric acid in aqueous state. The pH of the neutral pure water is 7. Normally, rainwater has a pH of 5.6 due to presence of hydrogen cations found by the reaction of rainwater with carbon dioxide. When the pH of the rainwater drops below 5.6, it is called acid rain. Acid rain is a byproduct of variety of human activities that emit the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen in the atmosphere. Acid rain refers to the ways in which acid from the atmosphere is deposited on the Earth's surface. Oxides of nitrogen and sulfur, which are acidic in nature, can be blown by wind along with solid particles in the atmosphere and finally settle down either on the ground as dry deposition or in water, fog, and snow as wet deposition. Sulfur dioxide is also absorbed directly on both solid and liquid ground surfaces and is thus deposited as dry deposition. Burning of the fossil fuels, which contain sulfur and nitrogenous matter, such as coal and oil in power stations and furnaces, or petrol and diesel in motor engines, produce sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. Sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, after oxidation and reaction with water, are major contributors to acid rain. Because polluted air usually contains particulate matter that catalyze the oxidation. Carbon dioxide gas with the water molecules react in the atmosphere to form carbonic acid. Sulfur dioxide gas react with oxygen and water molecules to form sulfuric acid, while nitrogen dioxide gas react with oxygen and water to form nitric acid. Let us discuss the effect of acid rain. Acid rain damages buildings and other structures made of stone or metal. The Taj Mahal in India, due to resulting acid rain, reacts with marble, calcium carbonate of Taj Mahal. Calcium carbonate plus sulfuric acid is equal to calcium sulfate plus water plus carbon dioxide, causing damage to this wonderful monument that has attracted people from around the world. As the result, the monument is being slowly disfigured and the marble is getting discolored and lustreless. When acid rain falls and flows as groundwater to reach rivers, lakes, etc., it affects plants and animal life in aquatic ecosystem. It corrodes water pipes, resulting in the leaching of heavy metals such as iron, lead, copper into the drinking water. Acid rain is harmful for agriculture, trees and plants as it dissolves and washes away nutrients needed for their growth. It causes respiratory ailments in human beings and animals. Acid rain also damages high altitude forests. Moreover, it limiting the soil of essential nutrients available to them. The second type of pollutants present in the troposphere are particulate pollutants. These particulate pollutants are of two types. Number one, non-viable particulates. Particulate pollutants are the minute solid particles or liquid droplets in the air. These are present in the vehicle emissions, smoke particles from the fires, dust particles, and ash from industries. The second type of particulate pollutants are viable particulates. The viable particulates are minute living organisms that are dispersed in the atmosphere. For example, these are viruses, bacteria, fungi, molds, algae, etc. Human beings are allergic to some of the fungi found in air. They can also cause plant and animal diseases. Next is types of non-viable particulates. Number one, smoke particulates consists of solid or mixture of solid and liquid particles formed during combustion of organic matter. For example, cigarette smoke, smoke from burning of fossil fuel, garbage and dry leaves, oil smoke, etc. Second type of non-viable particulates are dust, which is composed of fine solid particles. The size is over 1 micrometer in diameter, produced during crushing, grinding, and attribution of solid materials, sand from sand blasting, sawdust from woodworks, pulverized coal, cement, and fly ash from factories, dust storms, etc. The third type of non-viable particulates are mists. Mists are produced by particles of spray liquids and by condensation vapors in air. Examples are sulfuric acid mist and herbicides and insecticides that miss their targets and travel through air and form mists. The fourth type of non-viable particulates are fumes. Fumes are generally obtained by the condensation of vapors during sublimation, boiling, distillation, and several other chemical reactions. Generally, organic solvents, metals, and metallic oxides form fume particles. The next is the effect of non-viable particulates. Airborne particles such as dust, fumes, mist, etc. are dangerous for human health. Particulate pollutants bigger than 10 microns are likely to lodge in the nasal passages, whereas particles of about 2.5 microns enter into lungs and other organs of the body easily. Leaded petrol used to be the primary source of airborne lead emission. Lead interferes with the development and maturation of red blood cells. Next topic is smoke. The word smoke is derived from smoke and fog. This is the most common example of air pollution that occurs in many cities throughout the world. There are two types of smoke. Number one, classical smoke, and number two, photochemical smoke. Classical smoke. Classical smoke occurs in cool, humid climate. It is a mixture of smoke, fog, and sulfur dioxide gas. Chemically, it is reducing mixture, and so it is also called as reducing smoke or London smoke. The second type of smoke is photochemical smoke. Photochemical smoke occurs in warm, dry, and sunny climate. The main components of the photochemical smoke result from the action of sunlight on unburnt hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides produced by automobiles and factories. Photochemical smoke has high concentration of oxidizing agents and is therefore called as oxidizing smoke. Next is formation of photochemical smoke. When fossil fuels are burnt, two of the pollutants emitted are hydrocarbons, that is unburnt fuels, and nitric oxide, that is NO. When these pollutants build up to sufficiently high level in the troposphere, a chain of reaction occurs from their interaction with sunlight in which nitric oxide, that is NO, is converted to nitrogen dioxide, that is NO2. This NO2, that is nitrogen dioxide, in turn absorbs energy from sunlight and breaks up into nitric oxide, NO, and free oxygen atom. That is 1 mole of nitrogen dioxide gas molecules absorb energy from the sunlight to produce 1 mole of nitric oxide gas molecules and 1 mole of oxygen atoms in the atmosphere. Oxygen atoms are very reactive and combine with the oxygen molecules in air to produce ozone molecules. That is 1 mole of oxygen atoms react with 1 mole of oxygen molecules to produce 1 mole of ozone molecules. The ozone formed in the above reaction 2 reacts rapidly with the nitric oxide gas molecules formed in the reaction 1 to regenerate nitrogen dioxide gas molecules. Nitrogen dioxide gas is a brown gas. and at sufficiently high levels can contribute to haze. So the reaction is 1 mole of nitric oxide gas molecules react with 1 mole of ozone gas molecules to produce 1 mole of nitrogen dioxide gas molecules and 1 mole of oxygen gas molecules. Ozone is a toxic gas, and both nitrogen dioxide and ozone are strong oxidizing agents and can react with the unburnt hydrocarbons in the polluted air to produce chemicals such as formaldehyde, acrolein, and peroxyacetyl nitrate, that is abbreviated as PAN. To represent the formation of photochemical smoke chemical reaction in the atmosphere, we can consider the simplest unburnt hydrocarbon as 3 moles of methane molecules, that is 3 moles of CH4 molecules react with 2 moles of ozone molecules to produce 3 moles of formaldehyde molecules and 3 moles of water molecules. Here are the formulae of the other components of the photochemical smoke, that is acrolein and peroxyacetyl nitrate, which is abbreviated as PAN. Now, effects of photochemical smoke. Photochemical smoke causes serious health problems. Both ozone and peroxyacetyl nitrate act as powerful eye irritants. Ozone and nitric oxide irritate the nose and throat, and their high concentration causes headache, chest pain, dryness of the throat, cough, and difficulty in breathing. Photochemical smoke leads to cracking of rubber and extensive damage to plant life. It also causes corrosion of metals, stones, building materials, rubber, and painted surfaces. Next is, how can photochemical smoke be controlled? Usually catalytic converters are used in the automobiles, which prevent the release of nitric oxide, that is NO, and unburnt hydrocarbons to the atmosphere. Certain plants, for example Pinus, Juniperus, Quercus, Pyrus, and Vitis, can metabolize nitric oxide, and therefore their plantation could help in this matter. Thank you. धन्यवाद.